April 19, 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing kills 168 people in the federal building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. 19 of these casualties were children under 6. It was the most destructive act of terrorism on American soil until 9/11, with $652 million in damage. There were 324 buildings damaged or destroyed in the attack. Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were arrested and charged, along with Michael and Lon Fortier being charged as accomplices.
Bill Clinton is the 42nd President of the United States of America. He endorsed advancing of free trade in the Americas with the North American Free Trade Agreement. He cut taxes for low-income families and signed the Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993, which required large employers to allow their employees to take unpaid leave for pregnancy and medical issues. He also tried to overturn the ban on openly gay men and women serving in the military and launched the first official White House website to make the government more accessible to the people. Several assassination attempts were made on him, one being by Osama bin Laden. He also expanded the federal death penalty and was almost impeached for indecent actions with a White House secretary.
Cannabis is legalized in California with Proposition 215 in 1996, with 55.6% of the population in favor of it being used only for medical purposes. Dennis Perron started the proposition and also built the first medical marijuana store. The prop faced a lot of opposition from the Republican Party, which was in power at the time but eventually won out.
Many natural disasters hit America hard in the 90s. Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 hurricane, hit the Atlantic shore in 1992. It was the first hurricane to be given a name, caused 26 direct fatalities, and caused $26.5 billion in damage. The 1993 superstorm was the storm of the decade. It was a large cyclonic storm that reached from Canada to Middle America, with hurricane-force winds and scattered tornadoes being caused by it. It dropped as much as 69 inches of snow in the worst areas, with 6 to 9 inches in the south. 10 million people lost power and 310 were killed. The storm caused $6.65 billion in damage. The Northridge earthquake killed 57 people and injured another 8,700. It was a 6.7 magnitude earthquake that happened January 17, 1994. The blizzard of 96 kills 187 and causes $3 billion in damages. It dropped 48 inches of snow on Northern America, while the Oklahoma City tornado in 1999 kills 50 people and causes $1.9 billion in damages.
The 1996 Trans World Airlines Flight 800 exploded and crashed into the Atlantic Ocean near East Moriches, New York. The plane crashed only 12 minutes after takeoff and killed all 230 people on board. Some believed it to have been shot down by a terrorist or Navy missile, but after the FBI investigated it, it turned out to have been an accident with no criminal activity involved.
The 90s also saw the largest period of economic expansion, with personal incomes doubled from the recession of 1990 due to the overall higher productivity. The 1996 Welfare Reform Act also reduced poverty, and the North American Free Trade Act phased out the trade barriers between the U.S. and bordering countries.
The World Wide Web project was publicized in 1991 by CERN. Berners-Lee used his computer as the world's first web server and also wrote the first web browser, World Wide Web, in 1990, but it hadn't been publicized yet. The turning point for the web was the creation of the Mosaic web browser in 1993, and by 1994, most internet services we have today were already created.
Cell phones become increasingly popular for several reasons. Prepaid phones were invented, and these phones start to become smaller and smaller for conventional use. The smaller phones were second generation and used digital instead of analog transmissions. The first MP3 players were also invented.
The Hubble Space Telescope was launched in 1990 and was, and is now one of, the largest and most versatile telescope. Unfortunately, shortly after its launch, scientists discovered that the main mirror had not been properly grounded, but the mirror was corrected in 1993. Because Hubble orbits outside the Earth's atmosphere, the ultra-deep field image isn't obscured by the foggy atmosphere and is the most detailed visible light image of the universe's most distant objects ever made.
Also along the lines of science, the first cloned mammal, Dolly the sheep, takes the science stage in Britain, leading to a mass controversy of human cloning. The Human Genome Project began, and the Pathfinder landed on Mars. Also, the M-theory was developed. The M-theory is an extension of the string theory in which 11 dimensions are identified. several other strides were made, such as the detection of extrasolar planets, which are planets orbiting stars other than our Sun. The Hale-Bopp comet was seen for the first time in 4,200 years in 1997, and the discovery of dark matter, dark energy, brown dwarfs, and the first confirmation of black hole.
Many hit movies were released, such as The Silence of the Lambs, Forrest Gump, Titanic, Star Wars Episode I, The Phantom Menace, Jurassic Park, The Lion King, and Independence Day. Several hit TV shows included Friends, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Baywatch, The Simpsons, Beavis and Butthead, South Park, Pokemon, Animaniacs, Full House, and Martin.
During the 90s, rock and hip-hop become mainstream, with the year 1994 becoming a breakthrough year for punk rock in California. Grunge, teen pop, electronic dance music, and punk rock steadily gained more and more popularity. Industrial music, a fusion of synth pop and heavy metal, with bands like Nine Inch Nails, and Marilyn Manson. Was born. The rave movement also took place during the 90s.
Video games started to become more and more sophisticated with new games like Super Mario, Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Yellow, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Gran Turismo, Mario Kart 64, Half-Life, and Super Mario Kart. The world of gaming continued to change throughout the 90s as new and better game consoles were being developed.
90s fashion was some pretty crazy stuff, with things like curtained hair, flannel shirts, slap bracelets, rollerblades, pogs, Tamagotchi, Doc Martens, and grunge-style clothing. The popular style seemed to be no particular style at all, but a mix of your taste in music and TV and movies. For instance, Jennifer Aniston's haircut in the TV show Friends was very popular worldwide. On a semi-related note, Japanese anime and manga become increasingly popular with animes such as Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon.